Amsterdam was one of those experiences where like time didn't exist. It just felt like I didn't really know like where I was or what I was doing. I was just kind of like on vacation. Like it felt like a more vacation place versus maybe the other places I've been staying. It feels a little bit more I live here. But Amsterdam was just such a fantasy. I mean, every single alleyway and street corner, I mean, they're all different, but they kind of look the same. So I was definitely lost a lot. And there's a million canals that all look exactly the same. So again, I mean, I've definitely learned some tips for next time I visit, especially getting run over by a bunch of bikers. It's not fun, kids. It's not fun. So I recommend if you go to Amsterdam, please make sure you're not texting and walking at the same time. I've learned that the hard way. There's also basically cellars, like there's just stairs that just go straight down on the sides of the building. So you could totally just like fall into one of those traps. I mentioned bikers already, but also just cars will run you over, and you could fall in a canal too. So just be aware of your surroundings. There's a lot going on, and it's very thin, narrow streets. But I just loved, especially during Christmas time, like Amsterdam was just lit up so beautifully and reflecting on the water, and I really loved the architecture, and everything, like I said, was clean and neat, and yeah, the food was delicious too. I just felt I felt really in like the Christmas spirit in Amsterdam. It felt really good. So one thing that I also did, I finally made up for my Berlin experience. So I was in September, I was staying in Berlin for like 9 days or so, and I really wanted to get into the electronic music, dance, clubbing, party scene, just because it's techno and it's Berlin, duh. And I've been really looking forward to it, but I was sick, I was in bed, and I made a podcast episode about it too, about resting and how important it is just to like listen to your body and rest. But at the end of the day, I was pretty fucking bitter about it. And so in Amsterdam, I went to 2 different basically techno house parties and dove into that club scene, and it was so much fun. I actually made friends after it, and it just felt really good. It felt like I said, I made up for that time in Berlin. So that was really incredible, really amazing music. Even I went to this Lookout, and I'll put in the show notes like some of the highlights and maybe restaurants you should check out if you're in Amsterdam that were my favorite. But one of the cool attractions was this overall lookout, basically on a big roof, and you can see all the canals, and it's really gorgeous. But even up there, on the elevator going up, there was like a light show techno in the elevator that you could watch. It was very like Willy Wonka when they're in the elevator and there's lights and everything. Like that's what that was like. So anyway, Amsterdam knows their music scene. Like they are incredible. That was cool. Another really amazing thing I did was I went on a unlimited wine and cheese canal ride. That was really cool. Just getting some facts and history about Amsterdam, and I really wanted to check out this other place in the Netherlands that was only like an hour or so train ride away, but the weather was kind of shite. It was not good. It was pretty shitty. It was raining. There were a few days where I got really good sunsets and it cleared up, but for the most part, it was just kind of cold and rainy, and I kind of wanted to spend more time in Amsterdam, and so I'm just going to wait until I come back in spring when the flowers bloom. I just can't wait. I'm really looking forward to going back to Europe when it's warmer and seeing all of that. But anyway, that canal ride was really cool. I highly recommend it. Pretty much any coffee shops, any stores that you go into, like it's just like a whole mood. Really good decoration and interior design. I also went to I visited the red light district because I wanted to see what it was. It's what it's famous for in Amsterdam. So I wanted to check it out. And honestly, it just kind of was a low vibe, like didn't really make me feel good. Like I mean, I'm all about empowering women, and, that's one thing, but just some of them in the windows looked kind of sad. But I'm glad I went. I experienced it. I looked around, so I did that. I had some of the best, pastries ever. There's this one, I think it's called, crompouce or something. I can't pronounce it. I'll put it in the show notes. But it's this pink icing croissant with, bakery cream inside. I died. It was so good. I went to this steak restaurant and had an amazing tenderloin. It was so juicy. I loved the gravy. Everything about it was delicious. And then I went and had a stroopwafel. Highly recommend that too. It was nice and gooey, ooey, fresh for me on a cold day. It was awesome. I had also these truffle fries that were really good. I went to this brunch spot and I had this, they called it a Philly cheesesteak, but it's not. But still, it had amazing beef tips on this sourdough bread. Oh my God. So yeah, the food in Amsterdam, amazing. The scenery, the Christmas markets and things like that. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I hated being cold, but overall, Amsterdam was just, like I said, I can't say enough how much fun it was. So where's the lesson in all of this? Paige, you're just sharing what an amazing time you had. Tell me, what am I here to learn? Well, I learned in that experience the joy of I just felt myself again. It felt like I didn't have to try really hard, if that makes sense. Because sometimes when I enter a new country or city, it feels okay, I have a lot to learn. I'm kind of on high alert, kind of hypersensitive. But with Amsterdam, I was just able to sit back and enjoy and have fun. So it just felt like a more relaxed vibe this trip versus kind of being on, if that makes sense. And I loved my Airbnb as well. It was literally, so they have this food hall, and that's pretty famous. And, it's a really nice, big, basically food court, cafeteria style of these great restaurants. And my Airbnb was literally in the same vicinity, in the shopping area. And it was a 2-story. I basically had the whole building to myself. It was really neat. So I think just being comfortable, and they gave me a robe, right? So just relaxed vibes. I felt walking around the street, it just felt safe and cool. So yeah, good time. Can't rant it enough. So the lesson here is, when can you release and surrender a little bit more? Because for a little while, I was getting a little antsy of okay, my trip, I've already been traveling this long, what's next? And this was just kind of a good breath of fresh air. So I don't know where you're at in your life, mental health wise, if you're kind of in this place of anxiety or, oh my gosh, the year 2023 is wrapping up real soon. I have these things I need to do, blah, blah, blah. When you're kind of rushing like that, I invite you, my message to you is I invite you to release. And I know that's really fucking hard, but I invite you to just challenge yourself to relax a little bit more. And you'll be amazed at the amazing things that just happen when you're not trying so fucking hard. And really enjoying that present moment and have more fun. Because the more fun you have, the more that's going to attract in your life, the more that's going to come to you. So up the fun and release just a little bit more. After Amsterdam, I'm heading to Brussels, so I can't wait for you to hear that episode coming next week. But in the meantime, please take care of yourself. Listen to your body. What do you need to do to nourish yourself today? Do you need more rest? What do you need to do? What do you need to do? Just check in with yourself. I got you. I'm supporting you. I'm rooting for you. Let me know if you need anything. And until next week, talk to you soon.